So yesterday I posted a video about 4 simple steps to get ready to buy a home, and one of the 4 was saving for a down payment. With that, I got a couple of questions about what are some other expenses buyers need to plan to save for, and it's just an answer to kind of that is kind of multi-layered. So again, down payment's the big one. So if you're focusing on down payment, there are a ton of different down payment options you can do depending on your loan program. 3.5%, you can do 5%, and then you can do 10, 12, 15, 20, 25, like whatever. Minimum would be 3.5%. So how much do you individually need to put aside for your down payment? That question gets full clarification once you speak to a lender, and they kind of block out what your loan program profile is going to be. So you've got your down payment, we'll say a minimum of 3.5% of your desired sales price. Then you also have closing costs. So what are closing costs? Closing costs is that big umbrella term used to kind of capture the lender fees and your settlement attorney or settlement company fees. So everyone, of course, gets paid for the work they do. And instead of you having to write a check as you go, those two entities, the lender and the settlement company, they get paid at the end of the transaction at closing. So their fees and everything are tied into the generic umbrella term of closing costs. What does that typically run? Again, it varies depending on sales price and the loan type, but you can assume 3 to 5% of the loan amount. Other things you need to save for: you should have money put aside for the earnest money deposit, and that varies on the price point of the home. Maybe a lower priced home, $1,000 earnest money deposit is customary, or if it's a higher priced home, plan for $2,000 or $3,000. Now, the beauty of that earnest money deposit, $2,000 or $3,000, that still gets applied towards your total closing costs, cash to close at the end of the day. So it's not an additional dollar amount. Home inspection fees, termite moisture fees. So, home inspection, a couple $100, termite moisture, they're creeping above $100 now. So in terms of looking for a bigger picture, percentage wise of what you need to save at a minimum, 3.5% for down payment, 3% to 5% for your closing costs. So a minimum of 6.5% of kind of the sales price. And then, another couple $100, maybe just for a buffer, a couple $1,000 for stuff, your home inspections, termite moisture inspections that might fall on you. And then any kind of surplus the lender requires you to have in savings. So for a $300,000 house, that, just assume, we'll say 7%, so $21,000. Now, I don't want that to be too scary. Not lots of times, but there are times where we can get some of these costs negotiated and paid for by the seller. Closing costs is a big one that we can sometimes get the seller to pay for. So again, if you're thinking about buying a home in 2025, there's a ton of questions that we all can have. Let's connect, let's sit down. I've got a nice little outline to kind of walk you through the steps. I can email it to you, and just use me as a sounding board. Let's get together. All right, bye.